pandemic and pandemic. How are your institutions prepared in case of a pandemic? Many institutions have collapsed because they rely on their traditional incomes. Are you able to survive 2 months in case of a pandemic and you're not able to access? So this one, underlying each sub-theme, it is on the inclusion of youth and women. So the stakeholders are displayed. I don't want to read into that, but I've just given you snippets of information. This information can be accessed. I think we have given the brochure, and you find that the costs are very reasonable. So I want to stop there, unless there are comments that we are getting online, but just wanted to bring you to speed. And Chief Guest, with your permission, in the interest of time, if there is no feedback on that, then we should move to the other session where we are having the chair of what WASPA, Dr. Sumba, to come and do a presentation on inclusion of youth and women in wash governance and leadership for sustainable water and sanitation services. I would request the representative of the Young Water Professionals, GB Beru, kindly step forward as we mount the presentation for Dr. Leonita. Professor Blessing Beru from APHRC, kindly take your seat here. Margaret Minor, MD Limuru. The representative of Honorable Liz Chedule, Engineer Chengo, I don't know, online, are we able now to get to the Zoom because there were participants? Zoom is okay? Fantastic. That is great. Now, online will be joined by Honorable Mary Njogu, the CEC in charge of water, County Government of Uasin Gishu, and also, I'm told, Honorable Senator Sylvia Kasanga will be joining us later. She'll be able to make comments. I know we have the chair of the WASH DPG. He will let us know if he's ready. We have the director, CEO of KEWI. When he's ready, he will let us know so that he joins this participation. And I want also to appreciate the KEWI campuses from the head, which is Nairobi. That is the main campus. We have a lot of participation. I'm told a number of students have joined us online. We also have the KEWI alumni. We recognize you. So with your permission, let us move to the presentation by Dr. Sumba. Karibu. Thank you.
CEO Amugo. All protocols observed. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to the online team. Okay. My name is Unita Sumba. I'm the chairperson of Women in Water and Sanitation. You're all welcome to listen to my presentation, which is titled Inclusion of Youth and Women in Wash Governance and Leadership for Sustainable Water and Sanitation Services. Okay, this is my outline. I'll talk briefly about WASPA, and then we'll look at why women and why the youth, and the benefits of diversity and inclusion, then our vision of success, then women and youth leadership in WASH, and then we will conclude. So what is WASPA? What is Water and Sanitation Association of Kenya? This is So WASPA was started as an initiative to reinforce the role of women in water and sanitation management. And we have members drawn from all over the country, mainly from water service providers. We have both public and private sectors and non-governmental organizations. We also have men champions. It's not only for women, we have male champions. In fact, in the room we have our #1 male champion, Engineer Simon. And then is affiliated to WASPA. And then we are also affiliated to the African Water Association Profession Women, AFWA, as well as to the WASPA. So let us look at why women. Why are we always talking about women and water? Why is it so important? We are saying that women are largely responsible for household water, sanitation, and hygiene management. And as you've heard from CEO Ambugo, they are responsible for fetching water, especially in homes that don't have water on the premises. So about 80% of women go out to fetch water, and some are referred to as the infrastructure because they carry the water on their back. Some with even going up to 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers just to look for water. And then this practice, you can imagine the impact, the health impact it has on women. So it's important that we get access to water so that we can solve some of these problems or prevent some health impacts that come with this. Where, again, wash facilities are lacking, we find women and girls are exposed to sanitation-related gender-based violence, because if they have to walk for long distances to look for a secluded a place to go to the toilet, then it becomes risky. And that's why you find there is open defecation. And the last time I checked, I think in this country we have about 14% open defecation, something that we need to curb. Then again, lack of basic water sanitation facilities in public places is an issue. And for girls, it's an issue because it impacts on the way they manage their menstrual hygiene. And I think this is something that is so intimate to women, and they need to have ways of doing what they must do in an orderly manner. And then this thing about lacking basic sanitation services in public places just reminds me of one time I was walking, not even one time, many times. For Kenyans, you know where KNH is, Kenya National Hospital. There's a stage just in front of it, and there are so many people waiting for what? Waiting for buses and waiting for matatus to come during rush hour. And then I looked around, I don't see any toilet, unless there is a toilet right now. But there's no toilet in the vicinity. So I'm imagining the women, the girls who have to hold on to this and the health impacts that come with it. And then you say, maybe you're going further, which is the farthest place along that road, 20 kilometers holding in the traffic jam, no toilet. And I just think, who is it concerned? Who is concerned about, who is making decisions about the location of toilets in this city? That is something that we need to, look into. So women also bear disproportionate burdens. So when these basic services are lacking, there's a problem, and you've seen that. So again, why women? As the CEO has said, 18% of the workforce in 64 utilities sampled by a study done by the World Bank in 2019 found that only 18% of the workforce were women. And when we come to our utilities, only 4 women out of 8 MDs of water utilities are women. And then when we come to water sector institutions, only 1 woman out of 11 CEOs is a woman. And then we may ask ourselves, where are these women? Where are they, so that we can give them some of this leadership position? And then we look at the statistics. In 2020, the census showed that we are almost half male 49% female, 50%. So it's almost half. So women are there. Yeah, women are there, but you find that they are left out in most critical decision making in WASH. So when I look at what the wise man Kofi Annan is saying, gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance. So water and sustainable development go hand in hand. There's no way we can have sustainable development without water. And therefore, if we sort out the gender equality issues in water, then we ask ourselves, why youth? Is it so important that we should consider youth in leadership, in governance? And then I look at in Kenya, we have 800,000 young Kenyans entering the labor market every year. And unemployment is estimated to be about 39%. If I think about Kenya, where I was years back, we release about 500 on average graduates every year into the labor market. Water is a key factor in development. In fact, it's said that 3 out of 4 jobs are dependent on water, according to the World Water Development Report. And then water is also important if we are going to have a healthy workforce. And then the issue of succession, as the CEO had talked about. And then we have also realized that these young people, they are facing a lot of barriers in their workplace. And this prevents them from ascending to power. And they are also excluded when critical decisions are being made. Yet, the policies that we are making now have an impact on the lives of the young people. And again, I quote Kofi Annan, from creating startups to igniting revolutions, young people have been toppling the old structures and processes that govern our world. Just imagine what solutions might be found if young people are given the space and the encouragement to participate and lead. Of course, there are benefits. We are just not saying include young people and women in this. There are benefits, according to the studies that have been done. There are benefits of diversity and inclusion, especially in workplaces and in the community. Service delivery, improved decision making, which is better, financial performance, innovation, greater customer satisfaction, better outcomes in terms of compliance, employee retention, a safer operating environment, improved community relations, and better governance. When talking about governance, there is even a study that says women are less corrupt than men. I know someone is laughing and smiling, knowingly saying that, yeah, I know someone, and what is this super talking about? Anyway, that was a study. And at community level, there are enhanced outcomes in household and community. And the studies have shown that where women make decisions, there is a positive relation with the latrine ownership. So when women can make decisions, then those households will have latrine. There's a high chance that those households will have latrine. Then again, social and political empowerment. So where are we heading? What is our success story? We want to see empowered women and youth at the core of the WASH. So where does we come in as viewers? Through capacity building, through advocacy, through mentorship, knowledge management, and networking. But we can't do this alone. All people have to come together in order to bring up this empowered youth, this empowered women. And some of the components would be enabling environment. Organizations and institutions also have their part to play. Learning institutions have their part to play. The society, if I may say, society, whom are you listening to? What is the society telling the culture? What is the society telling the young people? Yeah? When you are growing up, what do you hear? Are we putting an environment where our women or where our young girls can thrive? I happen to have come from a home where my papa would chase me from the kitchen to go and read with the boys. And he told me, my daughter, if you want to read, do it when you are still in my house. Because once you leave, you just never know where you land. So do all the reading while you are still in my house. And I took it very seriously. For individuals, build your capacity. You have a role to play. Build your capacity. How do you brand yourself? How do you negotiate? All these are important. Then we have some quotes. As the only woman in a hiring panel of 6 members, I observed how my male colleagues systematically favored male candidates, even when the female candidates had strong qualifications. When I asked my colleagues why they were choosing the women, they said that it was too risky for the company because women go off to give birth and have to take care of the children. This was a female water quality officer in Ghana. Then I wondered the male, where did they come from? Okay, some quote. A society that fails to harness energy and creativity of its women at large is a huge disadvantage to the modern world. Look at that photo. Are you seeing the next? Yes. I don't know how you want to interpret it. I'm not going to details, but look at it. The starting line is the same. I don't know what it was supposed to portray, but I can see all the women and the men are focused, not looking anywhere, belly in front. And the women, you can see what is on their path. For the men, someone has cleared the path for them, but the women just sit. So there are many barriers that women face in the workplace or even in the society, and this prevents them from ascending to power. A friend of mine, I don't know if she's in here, said one time she had been posted to be a female town clerk someplace in this town. Then the secretary who received her just said, it would have been better if the position was given to a man because men help many people. Don't ask me how they worked out. It's a story for another day. So they say for women to be taken seriously, they have to work twice as hard, even if they are in the same position as the men. So can women lead? I say yes, they can lead. Those are examples. For example, the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation decided by a lady, Mrs. Cicely Karibu. We've had Honorable Martha Karua, I think the water reforms, if I'm not wrong, are accredited to her. We have had Honorable Terry Tingilu, I'm told when she was in the ministry, the budget increased. We've had Professor Judy Wahungu. You remember the plastics? Yes. We've had Mrs. Winnie Guchu. You remember the first Kenya Sanitation Conference? It's accredited to her. That was the first time the ministry was hosting such an event. Our members like Catherine Wango for a long time in Kwako. And then I can ask again, can women excel in STEM? STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yes, they can. Look at Jacqueline Musioki, Engineer Petronila, they have been CEOs. Engineer Jambi, technical director. Mrs. Maina, she's here. Jen Mutululi, and the others. There's a link there I wanted to show you. Yeah? Can you click on it? Yeah? There are many others. Yeah, there are many others. If you look carefully, you can see. My friend Caroline, Dr. Kabaria, she's there. This is how we celebrated the International Women Day. We decided to celebrate the women in water. So they are there. I'm there doing what I like to do most, advocating for the environment. Sarim there, she's there. She'll be presenting in the conference on sex and water. So be registered to listen more to that. Look at Eva. Eva is there. She's a champion in fecal slide management. So let's go proceed. Can you lead? Yes, I've picked a few. We have Samuel Wanjoy. This is a former KW graduate diploma in water resources management. If you look to the right, there's a photo there. He is receiving an award from His Excellency, the Deputy President. Yeah, and he says the potential we have as country, as young generation, let us give young generation opportunity when they arise. Youth can comfortably engage and bring a huge impact in water resources management. I'm told he's heading one of the best performing RUAs, which is called Bushishi. And there's also a plumber called Ben who is really leadership in plumbing, and you can see, addressing food security. And leadership can be at any level. Don't imagine you can only lead at the top. You can lead from any level. And I like this book, The Leader Who Had No Title. There's these people in this, from Korokocho, handling the fecal matter, handling, because they don't have services, even the cleanup, so they can clean for Kinder. As I finalize, we have so many challenges, the youth and the women in the hall, especially the youth. There are so many challenges, they could not even fit on this slide. Inadequate technologies, water pollution, aging workforce, water governance. So nobody's going to tell you that here is an opportunity, but look around you and see what type of challenges are there. Then from the challenges you can get your opportunities. So in conclusion, I'll end with 3 quotes. We start with the youth. If we take our youth seriously, provide tools to strengthen their natural prowess, and empower them to make the changes they want to see in the world, then this planet and her creatures have a chance to heal and flourish. Then from Michelle Obama, no country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contributions of her citizens. And then our very own Professor Wangari Maathai. African women in general need to know that it's okay for them to be the way they are, to see the way they are as a strength. I don't know how we are, but we see the way we are as a strength, to be liberated from fear and silence. So speak up. So I referred to a number of references that are there. I would like to acknowledge the Water Service Providers Association and African Population and Health Research Center for sponsoring this. So for more on women and youth in WASH, please register for the conference, and you have the website there. So thank you very much. You can find us on this link. Thank you all for participating in this pre-conference. Thank you.
One more round of applause. Thank you. Dr. is exuding a lot of confidence, and she has dissected most issues affecting women. If you have your questions, put them on hold. We are coming to that session. Now, let me turn to our panelists, and feel free to take your positions now that the presentation is over. And I'd like to start with you, Jeremy Bell. We've heard a lot about women, and this conference is not about women alone, it's also about youth. Maybe from your perspective as a representative of young water professionals, what are the existing opportunities for the youth to participate in water and sanitation leadership and governance? The microphone, please. You have 3 minutes. So the same question will go to the other panelists, but you speak it in the context of the institution you represent.
Thanks so much, CEO. My name is Jeremy Bell from Thika Water and Storage Company. also represent the young water professionals. And I am glad to be part of this forum. It's the only forum that can be able to put our agenda at the front and also spearhead our initiatives and also explore to get able to push the WASH agenda.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, CEO. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Blessing. I lead the work at African Population Health Research Center on Organization and Well-being. And you know that organization is a major challenge in Africa. Our urban areas are growing. If you look at Katiba 2010, and it's now growing. You realize we have 47 counties, and each of them have at least one major urban area, and these are the headquarters. So those are new centers of counter-attraction. Many people are going there, and so you need resources to sustain living in those places. Okay, and of course, one of those resources needed is water and sanitation and hygiene. In terms of opportunities, let me say this, that I want to thank Dr. Sunga for the women you listed. But you know that those are really very few. You need a critical mass of men. But it's not right, it's random. We need a critical mass. Can you imagine when some of the women who are in water and sanitation today, when we are growing up, if you want to go to the university, it's either, they say in my village, it's either you need a doctor or you need a lawyer. Okay? So, this area of water, sanitation, particularly hygiene, those were not the attractive professions. So as a researcher, my conclusion before I actually talk of that other issue, in the intellectual field, we need a lot of investment in the education field. We need to orient our systems and schools that what they call sanitation work is dirty job. I have a colleague and I keep teasing her. I said, I'm not sure you told your father that you end up in WASH looking at toilets and their systems when you were going to university. But it is really the reality that is not our first choices. So I think it's important to have the vision, to have a critical mass of Africans, of women, of young people who are interested in this field, okay? So that in the next 10 years, we will have people in this field. Really, so many people, okay? In this country, you know how many lawyers we have, okay? And almost of them turn to politicians. So where are the men and the women and the young people in this field? And when you talk about opportunities, it's not only in advocacy. We keep talking about the voice of youth should be heard, or the voice of women should be heard, and so on. I think we need education, we need expertise. Okay? You can't just become a leader. You have to lead from somewhere, you have to grow over time. Okay? We talk about unemployment, yes, but it's also in every field. So when we have the people, then they begin to engage in these areas. And for me, therefore, can I also say this, that there is a lot of opportunity in research. And for you to be a researcher in this field, PhD is a research degree. Okay? I made a point somewhere, we're not going to be doing African science. No, we're going to be doing science in Africa. And PhD is a research degree, postgraduate training.
Professor
Perhaps I want you to hold it there and come back to you. Now, the representative of Chelule, I know you engage a lot in terms of legislation, interacting with financial. What are the opportunities that are available there for participation of women in water issues?
Thank you very much. My name is Francisca Pambrel. I'm representing Honorable Liza Chelule, the women rep for Nakuru County, who has also sent her greetings to you. She's out of the country for an official duty. The greatest opportunity has been the position of a women MP in Parliament. It's clearly come out that women are the ones who bear the greatest burden when it comes to provision of water at home and in the community in general. And therefore, having dedicated 47 positions to women as women reps has been a plus in the idea of fighting the challenges that come along because of issues of water, sanitation, and hygiene. Why? Because the women reps understand the problems and they give it a priority when it comes to that. I don't know if you've noticed that every women rep, every woman rep in every county, one of the things that they always distribute is tax. Why? Because they understand that collection of water in a homestead helps a lot in reducing the burden of homes not having water. So you always see that when they are distributing something, one of the things that they distribute is water. And therefore it's been a plus. And it is a position that she says should be guarded jealously, and especially by women in this country. She also really highlights the idea of now having a CS in the Ministry of Water, Education and Sanitation as a woman. Why? Because she believes a woman understands and is passionate about issues water, and she appreciates and she believes it's a plus. There is also the issue of grassroots management of water. Quite often, government provides infrastructure, including county governments. They may provide water tanks, they may do boreholes, but usually, without good management of this infrastructure, the water may not be utilized and may not serve the communities as they should be. But now, it is really recognized that women are taking a key role in the management of this water at the grassroots level. And for that reason, it is really helping to eradicate the problems of water, sanitation, and hygiene. However, we still have many challenges in that sector.
We need to hold there, okay. A little bit will come. Now, I'd like to draw to your attention to the online community is more than us seated in this room, and we cannot afford to neglect them. We have around 160 participants. Others are sharing devices. So we estimate that the online participants are over 200. And I think it is important for them also to participate. Now let me know, because we are also having online presenters. We have the CC County Government of Uasin Gishu, and also we have Honorable Senator Kasanga when they are ready, and also CEO Kewi, and the chair of WASH PPG, Development Partners Group. So as we do that, I want to bring you to your attention that we are on Twitter, and we have a hashtag WASPA Youth and Women WASH Conference 2021. So if you are on Twitter, kindly open your Twitter account, go to Twitter, type the hashtag WASPA Youth and Women WASH Conference 2021 is continuous word. Then you can say we are live. Just say something that is very, very important, and you can tag others, especially the utilities among others. So that is important. Now, I want to move those ones who are online, kindly type your questions in the chat box so that we can be able to handle. We can't have the benefit of having everybody, but at least we'll have some of you. Now, I want to bring this back to the MD of Limuru, Margaret Minor. What are the opportunities available in light of so many challenges that some of the speakers have alluded to in terms of participation of women in water, sanitation, and hygiene?
Thank you. There are many opportunities in water for women and youth, and we also have a very sad fact that 18% of the workers in the water utilities are women and youth combined. And yet, women are the ones who take the burdens of diseases. They are the ones who understand water. So you can see, even at the decision-making table, how issues are tackled and which direction they take. What am I saying? We have all gone to school at some point in time, and from a diploma level, everybody has done a project. So you did a project for your ordinary diploma, you did a bachelor's, you did a project, you did a thesis, and very many reports, because I understood from my lecturers, it must be an original. We have done very many projects. I did in water quality, another one did in water engineering and whatever. But once we graduate, where do we take those places? They become part of education curriculum and we are gone. So, in the sector, we are having a lot of innovations. Unfortunately, they are done by people who are not working in the sector. We have innovations in non-revenue improvements. Before the reforms, we never used to think about unaccounted water, even the term never existed. But in the last 15 years, we have seen innovations, meter readings using phones, billing systems. Now we are not delivering our phones, our bills, hard bills. Our customers are getting them online and paying online. What am I saying? There is a lot of potential for the youths who are working in these utilities. When the people come to try their equipment, they come to us. And yet, there were classmates who have been trained in the same line, but we are giving them the data and the resources of which we can also learn from. I appreciate that we have done a lot. There is a lot of work, especially in innovations, but unfortunately in women, the employment and work in technical areas, there is a lot that needs to be done. We all went to school, we did the sciences, and we did even better. But I'm encouraged. Now, most of the girls are going to school, they are going to carry, they are doing sciences, they are doing engineering. And I hope they will be given opportunities to show what they can do, to also show their leadership styles when they come to work. Because I believe, as one of the women MDs, we can perform. You can imagine, out of over 70 MDs, only 5 are women. Seriously? And you all went to school. What is the big deal? I've been there for 15 years. Thank God, I'm not among the corrupt people. You say what better? Yeah? But with experience, I've seen women, even in meter reading, they do very well. Even in revenue collection, they do well. And they have their colleagues. The men appreciate them and they encourage them. We want a team. So I would encourage as many women, as many ladies, and as many young children to take the sciences and work with men. We are not competitors. We are just different. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a society of complementarity. We need to complement, and that is against the backdrop we are bringing this. Are we able to mentor more women? Do we look at succession and empower them for these leadership positions? Now, I want to escalate this discussion now into the General Assembly, because you've been listening to presentation. Let me get 5 comments. They could be comments, contributions, you may want to seek clarity. And I want also to hear the voice of the youth. The youth cut across. They could be both still women and men. If you are under the age of constitutionally is 35, I stand to be corrected. So if you are a woman and you are in this room and you are 35 years and below, then you are a youth. You don't belong to this group of women. We recognize you now as a youth so that you go towards. But still, you can angle on the women's side. So both, you fit in both. But when we'll be going for a breakaway, then we will check that. So that when we say we want women in one room, so we ensure if you are 35, you go to the youth side. You see there's some bias there. But that's quite okay. Let's get 5. Number 1. Contribution, compliments. This is a very hot topic and we would want to hear your comments because this is the opportunity. But this is a pre-conference, it's a precursor. The main conference is coming where you will ventilate on all issues. But we had to choose a topic so that we can at least push the discussion forward. So by show of hands, number 1, number 2, number 2, number 2, number 3, number 3, I'll close at 5, we won't come back to you, so 2 slots, because we need to move to another session. Number 4, number 5, so we stop at those 4. So you can shoot your questions. If you are directing them to a certain speaker, you can just mention even the name. Number 1.
A little of it, I actually saw that these are like the duties, the responsibilities of a woman. I call them gender roles, the socially constructed roles of women and men in the society. What is there anything that we can do? Because these are roles that are defined by the society that tend to like drag women behind. The woman's place is in the kitchen. I'm seeing clothes there. I'm seeing a washing machine. I'm seeing a cooker. So many that are actually on the woman's way. So for them to like reach the level where the men are going. Is there anything that we can do as a society to change this perception?
Thank you. Kindly also mention your institution, where you come from. It's important.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eligibility, and I'm from my question is to Director for Inugu and also to Dr. Sumba and to the representative for Honorable Chiluli, right? So first for Limuru, you say you've stayed for 15 years, right? And you've seen this underrepresentation of women. So I was wondering to myself, what have you done at your level? Are you just happy coming to meetings and still reporting that there's still underrepresented and it's happening? Or have you done something so that at least somebody can also push you out from the level that you are? And to the representation of Honorable Chiluli, it's actually a very simple question. Now that you're representing somebody else, is there something you've done yourself, like apart from seeing the terms being given out, And also to Dr. Sumba, have you done some capacity building to these people? Are the tanks being deployed and no one is using it? Because at some point, there are no water in those tanks. So are we just seeing the tanks? Personally, there are some tanks I've not seen people using. So has there been some capacity building? Have you done something yourself? Those are the ones that
Thank you, Ivy. I think I'll respond. Let's do it quickly, please. In the interest of time, kindly be brief, precise, concise, and to the point. We are also going to get questions from the online community. Are they streaming in? So if we have a number of questions, then they can be forwarded and I'll be able to read them. Proceed.
Hello everyone. My name is Frederick Okinda. I'm the chairperson of Concrete Solutions from Korogosha. And Concrete Solutions is the group who is always cleaning up the Nairobi River and also recovering the green spaces in. My question is just asking the government if you can come to Korogosha and see what the youths are doing there, because we are just volunteering there. No one is paying us, but we are risking our lives because we are also working with women in our community. And as you know, the Nairobi River is very much polluted. So I can just ask the government to come there and support the youths, and we can just appreciate very much. And also I want to ask, we are volunteering there in our community to recover the riparian areas without any support from the government. But yet you are hearing there are some people in the bigger offices sitting there, earning bigger salaries, planning how they can recover the riparian land, and also how they can cover the green spaces. How can they engage youths who have already started the initiatives? Thank you very much.
Chair WASPA.
Thank you, CEO. My name is CP Emeka Magedi. I'm the board of the Chamber, and also the chairman WASPA. Mine is a comment to the MD Moro, and also our colleague here and the Kasumba. It's true, we have few women in leadership in the water sector, but the question is, what are we doing to make that in the Kama? If you look at our constitution, makes clear that we should have a dash in that role in the sector. We are working, and that's what we're doing. The water sector breakdown is in the CMT. Let's start from the CMT. We may have an MT who is a man. We have a lady who is representing women in the CMT. And that's what we've been urging our colleagues, and that's where we are working towards. But for us also to reach there, basically we have these women in the leadership. They have a role to play. I'll give you an example. We did an advertisement looking for an engineer, and we put the newspaper. It was so shocking that out of all the 17 candidates who applied for that position, applicants, we only wanted. And we are fighting for women to be given these positions. They need to fight for themselves. We did the interviews, but the vendor that is the lady was lucky, she performed, she did not perform. Lucky because of the issue of experience that we're looking. So what we want to challenge our leaders and the women who are sitting here, it is you to encourage women to know that they can take positions, and those positions not be given on a please platter, you need to fight for it. And then they apply. We need to empower women, and by empowering women, make sure they have what it requires for them to be in those positions. Agree, from all primary all the way to university, we've been having our colleagues, they be sitting next to us. But most of them, they don't want to take the risk of taking those high positions. That's a challenge that I'm challenging back to you.
avoid a scenario where it's like being blamed that we don't give women position.
Thank you, Chair, for your contribution. As you can see, we have diverse gathering in this room, and we want also to recognize the youth and the women from the informal settlements. There are quite a number, Dada Mashinani, among others. Now, maybe from the online community, are there questions that we need to respond to? I'm told there are no questions, so I think that gives us consent as we move. Now, I want us to wind this session, and unless you have a burning question from the floor, I want to take it back to the panelists. As they respond to the questions, they also make their final remarks. So I'll start with the representative of Honorable Chelule. So as we close, you respond to questions that were directed to you, and at the same time also you make your closing remarks. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. She asked about capacity for the women in Mashinani. Quite often, the tasks are accompanied by training, explaining to the women, the youth, and all the beneficiaries the importance and the uses. So it's unfortunate probably one or two people may not be utilizing them well, but they are given out of need. They need first to collect water, two, to use it for domestic purposes and any other use that can be done. Before I leave the floor, I'd like to highlight an issue about water quality. I'm happy because we have serious stakeholders here, including our CEC water. It's not just enough to give out water to the communities. I think the water quality is a key issue. And for those of us who come from Nakuru, I don't know if you've noticed that there are so many people in Nakuru with brown teeth. Especially those who come from the areas of Nakuru West, those who come from Joro areas. Many people, children are born and after some time, they have brown teeth because of the water quality. It is an issue that needs to be addressed because it's becoming a stigma. Anytime you're seeing brown teeth, you're almost being asked, you come from Nakuru, because it is something that is really associated with that area. We also have the issue of hygiene in as far as our water sources are concerned. And like I know many rivers, just like somebody talked about Nairobi River, it's not really the only one. There are many other rivers that are still really quite polluted. One of them is a river called River Narugu in Nakuru. Just to point out another very important thing is about child mortality. Many children in this part of the world are still being born at home. And because of limitation of water and hygiene, around the time that these children are being born at home, children end up dying just because of issues of hygiene and limitation of water. I just want to finish by thanking the organizers of this pre-conference to say that it is a very important issue looking at women and youth and matters, governance, water, sanitation and hygiene, and leadership is something that is very, very timely. I think it is the high time also women get to be made very aware about their roles in as far as water is concerned. And not just water, but leadership. Because when we talk about so many women are still not participating in the leadership in the water sector, and I know many other sectors. We've just been given an example of an advertisement that was made, and only one woman applied. I think it is the high time we had some kind of civil society that is meant to just address women issues in the society, and issues leadership, and issues awareness, so that the women can participate more. They can be encouraged to come out more, encouraged to go to school, encouraged to fight for these positions that are there in the society. Thank you very much.
Let's make it brief. Thank you. Brief.
in the interest of time.
I'm going to answer the first one.
It was asked for 14 years, what have I been doing? First, I want to say that I'm a founder member of WASPA. We founded it in 2016, and for 1 year, I was in the WASPA executive, the CC, and who is a member. It was there, I was a member. And it took me time to convince them even to understand what is this women all about. And then we founded it, and we launched it in 2016. So it took me six months in the executive to go together with the other women leaders, just to tell the executive committee of WASPA where we need to encourage women and mentorship. Mentorship is one of the issues that we want to encourage women to take these leadership positions. And with that, I think we have seen most ladies now doing the management in our other units. From there, and I was the chair of WIWAS in 2018, and through WIWAS, we were able to bring in all the social service providers in Nairobi, and we formed the Self-Page Association of Kenya, the one now where Madam Ipa is the president through the African Self-Page Association and AFWA. I was instrumental in calling them, the stakeholders, all of them. We discussed the issue in Nairobi and we formed that association, which is now working, and Madam Ipa is the vice president of Africa. I've been working with my community. I'm a friend of Tom Giver. I've been talking about it. And right now, I'm happy to say that I'm having a community group from Embakasi, that the women machinani, I'm their coordinator. And we have been training with them, and we are organizing the second cleanup together with KTF, Embakasi, Garrison this week. I'm also working with a group called Mortality, which is cleaning Nairobi River. And with them, we also formed an association of Kairos, the Man of Cares Association. These are the people, after the exhausters, they carry from the organized estates. The ones who collect waste in the slums, the areas where the exhausters do not go, they are called Kairos. They call themselves Kairos. And we have one in Korogosho, and we are working with them, and I know during the conference they will be there. So we are working hard to bring women to the table. So, and that is why we are even here through this conference. Because we want to encourage women to participate and move out there. Because by the end of the day, women are the ones who carry the burden of water. They are very educated, but one of the programs is mentorship, encouragement for women to take the SANS courses, and also to let the women be bold enough, even at the board levels. We are saying that we are not going to rely on the affirmative action. Our education is enough to put us on the tables of leadership. That is what I can say, and I think Dr. Suban can add on that. From that time, that's why we have been having these conferences. We are an active member during the sanitation conference we was in 2019. We were the ones who are also sitting on the table in that. So I can say it is the beginning, and that we want all women to join. It is not about one person. You as a woman, you as a youth, how are you encouraging Mwenzako? How are you working with them? Even with those community people, you are the people who can give them technical advice, and then you work with them. You must work through the groups, you must work through the youth groups, and like the hand washing basins that we have installed, they have been done by the youth, guided by the utilities, and they have saved this country through the COVID-19. Because for me, I always say that water is the first PPE. Our work can be seen by the preventive measures that have been taken. As we keep the distances, water is the next item, and it has saved us. And we are the frontline workers. Our youth are still in the field, working towards this, and I see a lot of achievements in the sector. Thank you.
I think very heavy questions, very heavy responses. You dissected it well. Blessings. Prof.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've already made that point that we need a critical mass, particularly at the highest levels. Okay? Research and what you see, just like he mentioned, at that level, there are actually opportunities, even now. but you don't really see a lot of women. And we know, you saw the picture she showed, there are hoops to jump, but there is no other way except either find a way to clear that, and you need a critical mass to do that, quite critical mass. And I said, the PhD degree is needed if you want to really be a researcher in this field. And there are research positions, they are for them, okay? And in terms of all that is also investment in research itself. Okay, we need to invest in research to be able to map out the opportunities. As I was coming, I was trying to map out some of the opportunities we see, and there are many in this field. Okay, businesses across the entire value chain. Okay, from disposable. I mean, women can also run companies that dispose sludge. There are opportunities for innovation. Okay, and we have seen a lot of youth involved in that. Innovations, she was talking about buildings. There's a lot of innovation. There are places in the entire value chain where we can invest. Products, a lot of products. For example, sanitary products. Okay, drinking water. She mentioned Nakuru and water. We can invest in bottled water. Okay, and we need bottled water across this country and across Africa, because many people are drinking directly, and that is where you are having all these challenges. Okay, investments in soap, sanitary products, water filters. Of course, there is the challenge of funding. But first of all, you need research to be able to map this out and be able to say these are the opportunities. But you also need skill and expertise to respond to that. And for me, therefore, there is a place here for everyone, particularly for women. I mean, women are great entrepreneurs, so they can also be entrepreneurs in this field. In Senegal, there is a woman known for her role in the sanitation sector. She's big. Okay? The same thing in Nigeria. So there is opportunity for all of us to find our place and invest. But it requires time, it requires expertise, it requires funding. But I guess when you get to the bridge of funding, then you address it and see how you can cross it. And that is the point I want to make. Finally, is that you have to take it. It cannot be given. You have to take it. And I like the point you made. I want to end with you at that point. You have the skill, you have the expertise, the resilience to find your place in this entire value chain and do what you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Jeremy.
Let's wind it up with the perspective of the youth.
We have the larger numbers in the society, and that it's for us to ensure that we tap into these opportunities that we have. It's our time of stand, really. We are qualified, we can go to apply for those jobs, we can go to sit in those boardrooms because we have our leaders here who are willing to hold our hands and work with us and build resilience to ensure that we also grow up, become bigger and better in the wash sector. So kazi kwetu kama vijana, it's for us not to stand up. Please ensure that we work towards ensuring that we tap into these opportunities. Before I complete, we have the main conference. Please register. It's in that level where we can be able to come together and get our voices heard. Is that level where you can go to build networks? Is that level where you can be able to have a network such as WASPA for the youth? Karibuni na please apply.
Thank you. Why don't we appreciate our panelists? We are moving into conclusion. Let me bring in
Engineer Chengo, who is going to speak about, give an answer. There's somebody from the formal settlement.
Thank you very much, Engineer Chengo from the Ministry of Waters, Sanitation and
in response to an issue was raised by the representatives from the corporation, I want to assure him the framework that exists now allows
and permits the engagement of youth and groups in management of river pollution arrangement and the water resources utilization. And this is a framework that can allow us to engage you. And also, secondly, under the investment the plan in water resources management, we have what we're calling Adopt a River a framework, where we engage partners and local groups, community groups to clean our rivers. It has started in the upper streams of Nairobi for now, and I'm sure we're going to be part of reaching Korokocho soon to engage yourself. So we'll be coming back to you. Just one more comment. For the opportunities that exist, particularly for businesses, for women and youth, under the access to government procurement opportunities, we have a challenge there that an opportunity that has not been tapped into by the women and youth. For the Minister of Water and Sanitation, the allocation of 30% has never been achieved for the last 4 years in terms of the figures. So I think it's an opportunity that we need to look at and see whether it's the credit facilities that are needed to support the women and youth, or is it just the awareness about the opportunity that exists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now let me bring in the online participation. This is Davis from Usenge. This is what he says. I think
the problem of water pollution begins at the design process of any development. In this age, especially in the urban sector, no development should be approved for construction without a wastewater treatment system. The idea of conventional septic tanks and stock pit is what allows people to get away with releasing untreated sewage to the environment. What is this body, or NEMA, or any other body doing about this? I think that will be picked by Engineer Chengo Steel. So Spita, Ritluk Ruben from West Pokot. Thanks for good presentation, starting by my beloved Director Sumba. So my question is, what is government doing to help women and youths from ASAL communities to ensuring they are getting reliable, clean and safe water within their homestead? As I can confirm, here at West Pokot, women and youths are going more than 8 kilometers looking for water. I don't know if it is only the national government being targeted or even the county government, state government, and there are 2 levels. So Spita Opuru from Eco Green Organization, my question is, we have this assumption that women are interested in and responsible for domestic water supply and household needs, while men are often consulted in the work of water in financing or managing water resources. Now, today our theme is to unlocking potentials of women and youth for sustainable water and sanitation services. What needed to be done to see a woman being involved in leadership and managerial roles of water resources and sanitation so that they are economically empowered and maintain their position at home and in the community. I'm reading it verbatim, so I didn't understand it quite well. I don't know if you did. Then he continues, he said, due to the rapid growing population in our country, what is your plan in ensuring that every living thing access water in the presence of this animal, COVID-19? This is Alex Ngulat, Kewi, Nairobi. Oh, that's a different one. I'm conversant with chemical pollution, industrial effluent. Who is the legal person or persons that should raise an alarm over this? Isaiah Sebuli. Then lastly, greetings. My name is Jennifer from Mombasa Water. As we are all aware, Mombasa County has wash culture. By this I mean, due to culture, when going to the toilet, we use water to wash. And when we pray, we need water too. Currently, Mombasa Water can only meet 30% of its demand. Based on that, what practical plans do you have to improve situation on the ground? Very loaded. I don't know who is willing to take the bullet here. When one water service provider who is providing is asking you what you need to do, maybe now I think this government. Interesting. Can we get some responses where we can?
For the online community.
Thank you very much for this again,
In terms of pollution, we have a regulatory framework that addresses the issue of pollution, both by NEMA in terms of compliance to discharge water bodies, and also we have the Water Resources Authority that is mandated to regulate pollution. The Water Resources Management Department in the Ministry and WARA have also managed to invest, to plan for and invest for water resources management infrastructure to ensure that the catchment is protected, the river is well managed, to ensure we have less pollution as much as possible. In terms of what the government is bringing up for youth and growth in national areas, this is a responsibility that the county takes when they are doing their investment planning. They invest for water and sanitation infrastructure for their counties, and they implement to ensure that it's sustainably managed by the water service providers, and where the national government has support, then they support the respective counties to provide the process. The challenge, I think, in the ASAP areas is because we have isolated small water projects, and I think the counties are planning on how best to put them together for sustainable management. In terms of river pollution, I've mentioned, we have a framework. I think the challenge we are facing in the implementation of the prevention of pollution, and the current arrangement in sanitation is to ensure that the industries do pre-treatment before they discharge wastewater into the water service providers' infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think now, I'm told we have Honorable Senator
Sylvia Kasanga,
representing the Committee on Environment and Water in the Senate. Honorable Senator, if you can hear me, you are free now to engage us. Is she getting through? Can display? Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Good morning to you. You can proceed, Honorable Senator, and give your contribution on this debate.
Good morning to you.
I'm actually in between right now. shocking that to this day we still not have had any serious cleaning up of some of our rivers, and this is of great concern. And this is why I really want to participate a little bit more, because I would have hoped even before the term is over, I've initiated some programs that can bring some sustainable methods of keeping our rivers clean. And I'm happy that this conversation is happening. And the question I know you put across to me is women and participation when it comes to water and sanitation. And there's so much that can be done, even as much as we are looking to what can our county government do, what can our national government do. I also want, and I always ask our young people, what can we do, even by the time we expect the government to do what it's supposed to do. And I want to say this to everyone. I am the sponsor of the Mental Health Amendment Bill, a bill that has now passed. And one of the things that I have spoken heavily about is that our sum total of mental health is very dependent on the environment that we live in. And many times we go through our streets, and what you find is a lot of that. We are such dirty people. And I know you resonate with what I am talking about. Recently, when we were doing the campaigns for we're walking through Mololongo, the inside part. It is dirty. It has plastic papers everywhere. We have water but flowing between the streets where people are walking. You have food being thrown out from the restaurants that are nearby. And people are walking up and down, completely oblivious of the dirty which we are living around. And I keep wondering, our young people, where is innovation? Even as we're looking for government to provide us with these opportunities, how about we start creating our own opportunities by being innovative and coming up with methods that can, clean the environment while making us some money? I would be happy to see some young people come up with programs that then we can say, okay, fine, where do we look for funds to help this program take off? And it gives us a sustainable solution. And those are some of the things. And how about neighborhood watch for sanitation, for instance? Why aren't our neighborhoods, the way we have Yumakumi, to watch out for security matters or to watch out for other health matters? Where is Yumakumi initiative for cleanliness around the environment where we are? And many of us in the schools that we went to, we used to be told to collect papers. We are from a generation where even in school we are told to collect papers and keep a clean environment. A clean environment, bears directly on your mental wellness. So for me, I'd like to see these initiatives being talked about. It would be good to have neighborhood watches that include keeping our environment. And we must not forget that whatever we leave out into the environment seeps down into the ground, into the water catchment areas of the same very water that we want to go and extract and use for our own bodies and for our use. So my prayer for the young people and the women is that in as much as we are looking at all these other methodologies and asking our governments and our leaders to do, how about what we can do even within our homes and in our immediate environment with our neighbors? Let us also have that conversation. But most of all is to see how we can clean our rivers in the end. And there are many methods. In fact, if you go into the internet and see what other countries have done, they have simple ways of keeping our rivers clean and sensitizing our populations. Let's not throw trash into our rivers, because in the end, this is our source of livelihood. So that is what I can say for today, as I encourage the conversation to continue, and as I look forward now to your conference, of which I will want to participate. If my chairman can allow me, I will come again and I will participate. And I thank you so much, Wanasi, for having this forum. This is indeed a very good forum, and it's a way that we are moving forward, having these conversations as we move on. So I wish you well, and all the best as you organize now for the conference, and thank you everyone who has participated today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Senator, for your contribution. One round of applause. Thank you for the goodwill message from the Committee on Water at the Senate.
Thank you for responding within a short notice. We had made some considerable effort to get in touch with you, but we were able to do it in good time. But I want to assure you that we will engage you now that we have your contacts, and ensure that you participate well when it comes to the main conference, which is coming on 30th of June to 2nd of July in the same venue here. So I want to tell you we have over 200 participants online and at least 70 participants in person here, where we have women represented and the youth. The national government is here. We have representatives from the Ministry of Water, Ministry, and also the county government. So here we have a consortium from water service providers. We have representatives from NGO, informal settlement, and other private sector participants. So thank you very much, Honorable Senator. We will be coming back to you shortly. So thank you. I think that one brings us to the end of this session. But as it has been said, is that we need to seize opportunities. When it comes in terms of mentorship, we also have the opportunity to look for a mentor. I remember a few years ago, as a managing director, I had identified some certain competencies in a certain lady. So when I transferred her from one department to another, she literally refused. So what I did, I looked for a seat and took it to the department where I wanted her to go. Then I went to her and told her, Claire, come I show you your new office. Of course, she followed me reluctantly. But 3 years down the line, she came congratulating me. She's now driving a Vanguard. That's it. So at times you look for a mentor. We don't need to force it on you. Even me to be here, I had to look for mentors with even Waziri. When we were young in the sector, we used to follow our chairman. How do you do this? Nowadays, I've been given the opportunity to coordinate WASPA in the entire nation, and thus has afforded through the support to have women. Tumeleta wanawake kwa hiyo na vijana. Is it that a milestone? Simpige makofi jamani. So at times unanyakua, niko lazima, hata Biblia inasema tangu siku za Yohana Mbatizaji, ufalme wa Mungu unanyakuliwa kwa nguvu, na wenye nguvu ndio wanauteka. So don't expect it to come easy. That's how it happens. If biblically it is done so, what in the natural realm here? Tutanyakua. Opportunity. Thank you very much. So we come to the end of that session, and let's appreciate everybody who has participated in this session. So going forward, we want to hear the voice of women, we want to hear the voice of youth, and as WASPA and the national government and county governments, the commit, we will continue to provide that opportunity. I think WASPA was young a few years ago, but you can see we are hosting now. This conference is even at the international level. It's not here. Participants are following from Uganda, from Rwanda, from Zambia, and even next year we are going to, I think the end of this year, we are going to teach a few countries, I can't mention, how things are done in water. It means we have come of age. It is a father who teaches children. It's not a child who teaches the father. It can't be the other way around. So we have graduated into fatherhood and motherhood. Na mama huwa analea anatunza. Si hivyo? So thank you very much. Now let me bring in Dr. Kabaria, a very short session, then we go to the opening ceremony. But we want to assure you that we are going to escalate this, so that we want you to come in numbers in the main conference. We are going to have chapters national for the youth, and we are going also to strengthen viewers. We want them to continue meeting on quarterly basis. We want to come up with a youth wash parliament, where matters of water will be discussed. As we are creating a platform, I'm no longer a youth. Nilipita huko kitambo. I'm not even in the evening of my youth. I crossed that bar a long time ago. But we are creating a platform. So seize it and drive it. We are here to support you. And that is why you see the national government, you see the county government, development partners, APHRC are holding us, and other companies and other partners, so that we can provide that enabling environment. Once the enabling environment is there, then you should be able to execute your duties. Then there should be no barrier in what you want to do in water and sanitation. Dr. Kabare, karibu sana. Makofi kwake.
Thank you, CEO. Good morning, everyone. All protocols observed. My name is Dr. Caroline Kabaria. I work as an associate research scientist at the African Population Health Research Center. I am also supporting the Ministry of Water, WASPA, and WIWAS as a conference scientific and technical committee chair. So I'm here to just briefly talk about innovations, and I'm very happy about the panel that was here before. Thank you, MD Limuru, Margaret Maina, for talking about the opportunities that exist for innovation. Thank you for mentioning that there's a lot happening in the sector in terms of innovation, but the majority of it is not being done in the country, and if it's being done outside the water and sanitation sector. So my challenge to you, Jeremy, Scholar, and the young water professionals who are here, Ivy put the women on the spot about what have you been doing other than emphasizing the problem. I want to put you on the spot. What are you doing in trying to take up these opportunities for innovations? And so towards this, I'm not just going to put you on the spot, I want to give you an opportunity to actually participate. So for the conference, what the thing is not working. You can just move to the next slide. So in the conference, we have a call for what we are dubbing the Vijana and Dada Awards. And this is going to be in two broad categories. So there'll be an award for Vijanas, and there'll be an award for the Dada Awards. And this will be broken down under water innovations or sanitation innovations. So under water innovations, we want to talk about innovations, or we want to get applications from industry. And when I say industry, I mean the youth who are in the utilities, the youth who are in the private sector, the women who are in these utilities. This is your opportunity to come in as the industry. We also have participation from universities and technical institutions, and we know we have a lot of ideas that are sitting in these institutions. Please submit your application. We want to recognize you, we want to give you an opportunity to participate in this competition. We are also cognizant that we also work with communities. Thank you, the teams who have joined us from Makasi and Mashinani. Thank you for the people who joined us from Korogosho and Mimandani. We want to know what you are doing in your communities, and we would like you to please submit an application. So your application can be either for the water or for sanitation, and if it crosses over, we will be able to make that decision. But we would like to be able to recognize these efforts that are being done by women and youth. And in terms of the evaluation criteria, we want innovations that are innovative. I'm using the same words. My English teacher told me not to use the same word to describe one, but I'm using it. But the innovations also need to be contextually grounded. They need to be addressing a problem that is on the ground. And we've sat here, and it's always difficult, and CEO says this a lot. When you tell people, tell me what is happening, people never speak about the good that is happening. Everybody speaks about the challenges, right? Yeah. If you tell people opportunities, people find a way of twisting it up, but so, right? So we want things that are addressing things which are on the ground. All the ones we had here, the solutions are within our reach. We want to get that. And of course, they need to be relevant to strengthening water and sanitation systems. So of course, they have to be within the sector. And we will be looking at the originality, how sustainable they are, or how they can be replicated. That is going to be our assessment criteria. In terms of the solutions, they can address individuals, they can address communities, they can address neighborhoods. So we are very good. If it's a solution that addresses a technical problem within the water and sanitation network, whether it's infrastructure, all those ideas are welcome, and we are really interested in hearing about them. And I've listed there what they could include: services, they could be about models, they could be even advocacy tools. I know Blessing says we need to move beyond advocacy when we say the voice of the youth or the voice of women. But all these are also useful in the entire chain of innovation. So please, if you have those ideas, use them. And in my last slide, well, second to last, is how to apply. Paul, if you can go to that. Last slide. So we have these forms available on our website, and if you're not able to access the website, you can always write an email to the email given there, which is WASPA YWC Youth and Women Conference @gmail.com. And just download the form. It's very simple. Just tell us what your idea is about, then submit it. This has been open for quite a while, but because we are doing this forum today, we'd like to give you an opportunity who's here in the room or who's joining us online. So we've extended the deadline for application until June 11th. I skipped a slide. I'll just go one slide back, and it talks about the eligibility. So this is open to youth, and this is defined between 8 and 35 years. So if you feel that you are youthful like me, you can choose which category, probably the women. And so you could be working as an individual, you could be based at a company, you could be part of a CBO, you could be working in a non-profit or even for-profit enterprise, within the national or county governments, in academia or technical institutions. You're all welcome. And some of the things, of the benefits you can get by participating in this, other than the recognition, you have access to development and investor networks. We are talking to various innovation centers across the country to be able to provide mentorship opportunities and potential training to the people who are applying. So please do apply. With that, I'd like to thank you. See you. I'd like to hand over back to you, unless there are any questions.
Thank you. One more round of applause. So we have christened it well so that it is in tune. The Vijana. Vijana oe. Vijana oe. Niseme aje, si wamama ni wanawake hai. Vijana oe. Wanawake hai. Wewe, inabamba sana, si ndio? Wanasema ikibamba sana wapi duru? Nice one. Thank you. So we have the Vijana Water and Sanitation Awards 2021 up for grabs. We have the Dada Water and Sanitation Awards also up for grabs. So this one will also be shared. You have been told how you can access it. Prizes are there, we have not mentioned. Just do your part, because during the gala dinner, Waziri is here representing the county government. There is plenteous of prizes to be given. There's nothing you are going to do in the gala dinner. Ni kupatiana zawadi, alafu kutafuna mitafuno. Hakuna kazi ingine. Na tutasema kama ni African wear. So unaweza funga ile kitambaa yako kama wewe ni dada, iende kabisa ikae kama ile ya Orio logo Manduli. She has shown us how to do some of these things. So that one we will be able to communicate. Sawa sawa? Yes, it will be, if it is African wear, hizi masuti tunaweka kando kwanza za Mturuki na Mjapani. Tunavaa yetu kabisa. Funga kabisa, unajifunga. So that is the Dada Water and Sanitation Awards. Now we are going to the final session for this morning before we go for our health break. I know that sugar levels have gone down, but you have to bear with us. Now, I want to bring in our chairman, who is CPA Michael Maneli, who is also the managing director of Mavoko Water and Sewerage Company. I think you can see even in the water there are reforms. It was fully dominated by engineers alone. But now you can see even wakilis are here, accountants are here, lawyers are here. I'm one of the accountants in the room. So we seized the opportunity, we grabbed it and proved that it can also work. It's about leadership. And leadership, you have to influence people to work in voluntarily towards certain goals. Governance is the structure, is the system how institutions are controlled. Help me
to welcome our chairman to make his remarks.
Thank you very much, CEO. Thank you very much, CEO. The engineer Chengo is representing the Ministry of Water, the CEC engineer Ngeno from Nakuru County, fellow MDs who are here, all the participants who are here. Is it good morning? My name is CPA Mekomagefi, and the MD Maboko Water, and also the chairman of WASPA. I want to give you a brief where we are coming from, and what we've done so far. I'll give you a brief highlight that with the help of the conference highlights, we have Dr. Caroline Kabira, who was here. We have also Dr. George Kwendo, Dr. Suba, who was here in the morning. We have also Engineer Simon Bando, Beatrice Langat Kewi, and also Anton Nabugo. Those are the representatives of the Scientific and Technical Committee that we formed to steer for this conference that we are having. The conference highlights, we are expected to get at least 500 delegates. We have 120 speakers and panelists, and also we have for a number abstract presenters. We also have 40 exhibitors that I did have shown interest that will be participating in this conference. And we will be having various preliminaries, that is preliminary sessions, 6 of them, and also 6 convener sessions that also will be taking place. We also expect to have at least 10 concurrent sessions that also will be taking place during the conference. About the abstracts, abstract review and outcomes, during the first workshop, we managed to get 8, and all of them they were accepted. We also received 17 with revisions, and we did not reject any, so we had 0 that was rejected. During the second workshop, we also accepted 4 of them, and also accepted 12 of them with revisions, and rejected 0. So in total, we have 16. And we have also received 6 abstracts. In total, we have 47. So basically, that's what I say we prepared, and that's what the highlights of where we have come from and where we are. And we hope is that we will have a successful conference during that time. Thank you very much for listening.
Give me some, please. Makofi tena kwa mwenyekiti. I now have the pleasure to bring in my longtime friend and buddy. We have been in the sector for quite some time. I think now it's a decade, but we have been working very closely. When I was MDCMO, I came to Kericho. He taught me some Kale. I used to say the ichefo kap kimaratiet. Ati maji ni ya fisi. So ukienda huko wanasema maji ni ya bure. Ati fisi ikiingia kwa maji inakunywa tena inafanya uchafu na inaenda. So it doesn't pay. Why should a human being pay? It is very difficult, but I think by talking to each other, people are able to pay money. And I think you can see again we are at different levels. Sasa sijui hii group ya engineer Chengo ikienda nyumbani na sisi tunaingia pia maji loss. Ama unaona namna gani tena? Yeah, thank you. Karibu waziri. Makofi kwa waziri.
Thank you. Anthony, the CEO WASPA. As you mentioned, we worked together for a very long time in the sector. I found him as a CPA Magede also known as, and of course my colleague and friend MD from the Margaret Minor. And when she was narrating the issues of WASPA, I could feel you during that time. And we managed to accommodate quite a number of women in the group that transitions happened. I just wanted to recognize quite a number of my colleague friends in this forum. Of course, I've seen Dr. Sumba, Kaberia, quite a number of MDs who are involved in the sector. And women MDs for that matter. I think we are really appreciative of the fact that you listen to the levels that you're in as sector players. Jengo, who's my friend, we are working together in quite a number of our programs between the Ministry of Water and Sanitation and the Council of Governors. I think we've crossed paths in every other aspect, whether intergovernmental framework, which we are still working on with the ministry, or even sanitation policy, which I'm aware you are working on it. So we've worked closely, and that's why we are hosted here today. Before I make my remarks, I just wanted to also make comments that I think the women have already found their place in the society. I need to recognize my friend. I know Kamure will start dealing with me when we get to Nakuru. She is a long time friend also, working together with in Nakuru. I was just whispering to Jingo that women are still talking about their rights and their place in the society. And as we speak, I think the CJ is being sworn in. Lady Justice Malako, the deputy CJ is a lady. What do you call Amadi's registrar is a lady. And the youth here, and specifically talking about the youth who are men, are really keeping quiet. I think the boy child is getting a start at meetings, and I'm standing in the gap for the youth who are men to advocate for them. I think the women have really been given a lot of attention. I'm not pulling down. You're doing a great job with Ngong River, friends of Ngong. But the point is, I think we need to also to work together. I think and looking at the sector, I think we are discussing some few with my colleagues, and I think the sector also needs to really grow the talent within the women and the youth, of course, ladies and gentlemen, for them to take the mantle. One of the key things that I wanted to really reconfirm what we are doing personally within my ministry. I have a chief of service a lady, I have a director who is a lady, so even on the top echelon of my ministry, we qualify as per the constitution, a third of white agenda, and the MDs of my three utilities will tell you that the SLT or the CMT are fully constituted. I think I can confirm from where I sit. I know that even the MD Naivasha recruited a general manager the other day and happened to be a lady. No. So we follow the constitution and looking forward. In my caucus, I work closely with the 5 of us. We have 3 men and 2 ladies who are also running the caucus. So I'm cognizant of the fact that we must be able to comply. Having said that, is to welcome you on behalf of my governor, Isaac and you could not be here, to Nakuru. Just to confirm that Naivasha is Nakuru, where we are. Sometimes people mistake that they have ended in a different county, but this is still Nakuru. And to be happy that we are hosting the WASPA pre-conference as a county government of Nakuru. And to also reiterate that we are really fully committed. Doris, I must confirm that I have seen you. Yeah, we work together in the sector. So just a few remarks, and then I just invite the representative of the chief guest to just open the ceremony. As we look at the theme of unlocking potentials of women and youth for sustainable water and sanitation services, it is important that we recognize the role played by women in the sector, and also as we focus our energies on the same. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure that I welcome you to the WASPA Youth and Women 2021 pre-conference in water and sanitation, which is designed to popularize the main conference scheduled to take place on 30th June 2021 to 2nd July of 2021. I must confirm on the onset that Nakuru County has endorsed the WASPA Youth and Women Conference. And indeed, when the team visited the governor some months ago, and that as a major conference partner, we are also a sponsor. I think we might need to upgrade at some point to be a silver in the few weeks. We will see how that goes. And also, we are going to sponsor the gala dinner as reiterated earlier on. Furthermore, we as a county government of Nakuru, and being the chair of the caucus and CC in Nakuru, have discussed with my counterpart in finance and all the brandings. And of course, this is marketing also for us as a county. The brandings that will be, or advertisements that will be made within the environs of Nakuru, all those ones will be waived. So it means therefore that you will not pay for any advertisement or branding within as you plan for the conference. The county government will take care of those costs. So that's the communication that I needed to give you. And primarily, again, let me just mention to the organizers, this not in this forum, that the national government, through the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, Education, County Government of Nakuru, WASPA and the WIWAS teams for such a great organized pre-conference, even as we look forward to the main conference due in the next 1 month. The pre-conference, and we've had great participants and conversations. We have almost 100 participants physically and at least over 200 are participating virtually, being an extract from the youth and women in Washington. Of course, other guys are following from outside the country. It's important that to reiterate that as a water sector player, we really support what is happening. It is crucial that we deliberate on the governance of water established mechanisms for monitoring of our water footprint, which is an indicator that looks at both direct and indirect water use at individual, business, community, county, or country. I want to reiterate that as we grow in the sector, as women and youth, and Ministry of Water and Sanitation is presented here, governance still becomes still a challenge in the sector. And I hope even as we look forward to the main conference, those topics on governance issues within the sector needs to be addressed. And it is indeed issue that the realization for the need for clean and safe water, which is a right in the Constitution of Kenya, Schedule 4, Article 43, that the function of delivery of water and sanitation services again under the fourth schedule passes to Article 185, 186, 187. And looking at also the national water policy, which is important, and I'm happy that also the sanitation policy is coming on board. To really address the issues of sanitation challenges. It's a right we have a right to water and sanitation, but also a right to clean environment. So those things are stay tied together. And looking at the various also either national or county government for the supply of water and sanitation services, which of course includes ensuring access to water and sanitation according to constitutional rights, and also ensuring and coordinating the participation of communities in governance, among others. It is in line with the above roles that our focus lies on strengthening the women and youth on water and sanitation, especially during this period when we are facing a pandemic and strive towards post-COVID-19 recovery mechanisms. Noting that the water and sanitation sector plays a key role in mitigating the pandemic, and of course I don't want to delve into the role of water in terms of mitigation of pandemic, but I also want to challenge as we look at the Vijana and the other awards, looking forward that we'll be able to look at on the whatever needs we presented during the main conference will also be targeted at post-recovery on COVID-19. We shall realize that the target audience for this conference as we deliberate in order to come up with very good solutions for managing our water resources. As a county, as I conclude, we commit to continue institutionalizing the inclusion of youth and women in water and sanitation in the entire spectrum, from governance to operation, in an attempt to accelerate SDG 6.2 Constitution of Kenya 2010, and also Vision 2030, and of course our county integrated development plans. As the chair of the caucus, or CC in charge of water, environment, energy, natural resources, I look forward to working and whipping my county executives to participate in the main conference, and especially the women and the youth across the country. And in that regard, as we look forward to the main conference, and even as you are here, 70 participants, we appreciate that you chose Naivasha and Nakuru County to be the venue. And as you mentioned earlier, there are exciting venues, so exciting tourist site that you might need to visit even as we look forward to the main conference. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I want to just wish us the very best even as we deliberate. The county government of Nakuru and also Council of Governors are looking forward to the main conference. But one of the key things that they are looking forward to, and personally, is to look at the innovativeness as put by Dr. Kaberia, as he was discussing the issues of the presentation. I think that is what is going to attract us to come to the main conference. So CEO, you have a challenge, not to challenge the teams that are working on that to be able to really prepare very good and exciting papers. With those few remarks, I want to say thank you so much and looking forward to the next few weeks and looking forward to the main conference when I go here. I will assure you that the governor himself will be here, the chair of the caucus, the COG, Governor Kimemi also will be here, and of course I think the ministry will also come with their brigade from Agios. Thank you so much. I think it's my pleasure to invite Chengo to speak on behalf of the ministry and open the conference or pre-conference. Thank you so much and for this time.
Thank you very much, Engineer Nino. My colleague from the ministry, Engineer Omaida, the CEO of WASPA, members of WASPA who are here, stakeholders from the non-state actors group, consultants, water service providers, the youth, community representatives. On behalf of the ministry, our message is very simple. We are partners in this conference, in this conversation about empowering the youth and women to take improved roles in WASH activities. And today, as we come to meet here, I want to appreciate the existing partnerships that are there, that are being structured, particularly the intergovernmental framework that we are working with the Geno and COG to ensure that between the two levels of government, we have a framework to coordinate, to plan, to invest, to discuss topical issues, to have conversations about the water sector. It's a very useful arrangement. We are required to do that by the law and to help us the sector move forward. Again, as a ministry, we want to appreciate the partnerships that are there with the non-state actors, with the development partners, and community groups that continue to engage, continue to help us develop structures, frameworks that will address aspects dealing with water resources management, aspects of water services provision, and aspects that deal with sanitation management. We continue to appreciate that process, and that's why we're very delighted to be part of this conversation with WASPA and the other partners to ensure that the youth and women take a more leading role. Some remarks from the ministry. We know that when we talk about improving water and sanitation services and hygiene to our communities, it will benefit everyone in different ways. Water and sanitation have strong gender dimensions which must be considered when you are discussing management and use of those resources. The day-to-day experiences of men and women with water and sanitation can vary very differently. And these inequalities must be consciously considered as we start beginning to discuss any interventions. We know that at the policy level, access to water and sanitation is a human right, And in this space, governments, both national and county, are the duty bearers of the progressive realization of this right in their jurisdiction. We ride on the findings from research that shows countries with greater gender equality experience more rapid growth, more productivity, and more general service provision, which includes water and sanitation services. Again, increasing girls and women education and access to resources improves the education and health of their families. Women and youth can also play a critical role, and that's what we are promoting as advocates for improved services, as community leaders and champions of human rights. Equal access to clean water and sanitation is critical to reducing the overall inequalities. The lack of it undermines the very fundamental foundations of development, including health, the ability of children, especially girls, to stay in school and be productive. As a country, as we move towards achieving the SDG goals, access to clean water and sanitation can be a game changer for prosperity and transformation. We all agree, and it has been articulated during the conversations this morning, that by engaging the youth in the process of governance, we build a strong, solid foundation for future leaders and contribute to establishing a stable and prosperous future for our country. We commit and appreciate that the political imperative is to recognize that both men and women are integral to sustainable water sanitation and hygiene management. The policy frameworks that we have and the ones we are advising, including the sanitation management policy, hopefully we will work towards having them backed by resources, training and political will to enable them to have a sustainable arrangement for women leadership in the water sector at the local, regional, county, and country level. So as a ministry, as policy holders, we commit to provide the law and regulations that are able to assist public utilities, agencies, and institutions to better target investments and oversee the efficient operationalization of services. This, in the water services arena, we are using the WASPA as the regulator, and in the water resources side, we are using the Water Resources Authority. In that framework, we are able to create the conditions and capacities for private sector engagement in WASH. And this will be key, and again, this is an area where the youth can be able to take part. You can also come from the category of the private sector engagement to support the WASH initiative at whatever level. Hopefully this will be able then to give us a picture of inclusivity for everybody and ensure that they take their roles and mandates. Like I mentioned, there are issues that we need to address, issues of women's access to credit facilities and market opportunities, and also for the youth. I mentioned earlier on that the access to government procurement opportunities, facility that has been extended to women and youth is still overall underutilized. We need to address this space and see what we can be able to do. I'm happy to know that in this conversation we are going to bring the enterprises and the financial institution that can engage us to see how best these credit facilities can be extended to women and youth. Throughout the discussion this morning, there has been the discussion about how do we promote the participation of women in decision and policy-making levels. And this, again, like articulated, this has to continue to ensure that we tap into their experience, we tap into their motivation and skills that they have to ensure we have the right decisions. As we implement interventions in the workspace, we have to work with the local partners and in this case development partners to build the capacity of women and youth to participate in the mainstream workspace. This includes workforce development and training programs specifically targeted to the needs of the women business owners and young entrepreneurs. Credit and saving products tailored to women and youth, and value chain analysis that examine the employment potentials for these two groups. We have to be very proactive. Again, we appreciate there is a gender gap often found in planning, design and construction, and we take note that this is slowly narrowing, but we need to really ensure that we have equal opportunity for women and men in this space. One area that we need to look to address to the youth is that the use of social media or online platforms for advocacy, for engagement, it needs to be enhanced. And one good example I will mention is the issue of participation of youth and women in government budgeting process. This needs to be fully utilized to ensure that we have the proper arrangement. So, as I conclude, I want to confirm that the sector needs to invest through its investment plan in developing the next generation of water, sanitation and hygiene leaders. For this, and I want to invite the stakeholders to engage us as we finalize our investment plan to ensure that we have a strong provision for training for developing the next generation of leaders. And our plan is to collaborate with colleges, water utilities and counties to ensure that we have a proper learning, internship, and make provisions for the youth to interact with experts and researchers to gain the necessary experience. Governments and WASH partners should, both the national and county and the WASH partners that we engage, will continuously promote and encourage professionals to study water and sanitation and hygiene and water resources management so that we can be able to move into, the women and youth can be able to move into the technical and leadership roles. I'd like then again to affirm the ministry's support and commitment to be part of this conversation with this conference. And assure the partners that we'll do all that within our provision to ensure that we have a very useful engagement during the conference late next month and have the partners, the stakeholders in the workspace to engage on how we can bring on women and youth to be key players in this particular space. And before I sit, I would like to introduce my colleague. Maida, do you want to say something or just wave on the committee? By the way, I'm the Director of Sanitation Management in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation. Engineer Maida is the Director of Water Services in the Ministry. So in the Ministry, we are also, she's my colleague at the same level. Maybe you want to say hello? So that also, you see the women in our group also.
So, thank you, Director. He has really said what the ministry is about. I can summarize it further. I hope we have understood it. But my name is Engineer Mary Wamaita. I'm the Acting Director for Water, Sewerage and Sanitation Development. As the name says, I'm an engineer Currently, I think I'm the only lady engineer, right? Yeah, but my colleagues are, I think we were 4 or 5 when we came in. The other 2 ladies are in research. They are doing very well. I'm the only one who is holding on to the infrastructure development. I encourage people to come up, ladies, youth. It's not as hard as it looks. Actually, you see, I'm clean. I'm totally clean. So it's very interesting. I won't say much. The director has said everything about the ministry, what we are about, investment planning, policy, and encouraging the women and youth to participate in AGCO. You know, we need to reach that benchmark. And encourage the youth not to be the oblivious account holders. You know what I mean by that, or the women. You know, you are the account holder of the AGCO company, but you don't make any decision. So really it's to encourage you to take up an active participation in decision making in your company, in whatever investment you take up in. So thank you very much. I won't say much. Thank you, Director.
And with those remarks, it's my pleasure to officially open the WASPA conference, pre-conference 2021. Thank you very much.
This is the era of COVID, na tuonyesha wakati mwingine tujui, even putting on a mask and removing is trouble. Now, why don't we appreciate the chief guests and the speakers who have spoken? You can see now we have been given a blank check because this is a precursor to the conference, and we want you to come in huge numbers. We already have a database of around, I think should be now heading to 600 youth and women. Bonus tusijipigie makofi. So it means we won't have any trouble. I don't know where all is, we will just put it in the system. Even if we are communicating to your bosses, we will also copy you directly. So you'll be able to get information real time. And that is the importance of being here. So if we want a group of youth in this country, it will be very easy for us to communicate. So I think there will be more communication coming, but I just want to communicate the next steps now as we are here. Before we communicate the next steps, I believe everybody has a brochure. Now, how you need to engage us is we have packages, and we have the early bird package on registration. Deadline is 31st of March. Kindly take opportunity of that. Sorry. Thank you. 31st of May, 2021. So if you bring 10 youth participants, instead of paying 250, you'll pay 200, so there's a discount. 5 women participants, instead of paying, I think it's 150, you will pay 120,000. There is also the company, these are bouquets, special. So beyond that, we'll revert to the normal registration, which is very expensive. Kindly please seize this opportunity. You can register in advance. You can register in May and also pay in June. That secures you because the invoice will be maybe 1 month old. So after this, we are going for tea break. And I'm told it is strictly 15 minutes because we are going for breakaway sessions. So I've been advised that when we go for tea, we don't take tea where we are going to have tea. You can take the tea and the snack and walk back here. Those are for the youths. Youths, boy. Youths are Wako wapi? Hebu nyosha mikono nione. Youths wako wapi? Na mko wengi kumbe. Haya, kuna hiyo breakout session. I'm told you are coming back here. Then the women, we have a very fantastic room for you. I'm told that that one has been exclusively chosen for you. I didn't choose it, I've not seen it. But I'm told it's a surprise. So, as you pick your tea, you will walk into. So, that exercise we are given 15 minutes. Please don't take tea there. Carry the tea and the snack into the room so that the conversation continues. We are out of time, so that means we congregate at 12:25. So youth here, women the other side. So you are going to have a session for the next 1.5. Kindly listen, it is important. You're going to have a session for the next 1.5 hours. That will take us to 2. Then 2, we go now for the lunch break. So that will be the end of today for the pre-conference. So there are important resolutions you are going to discuss. So if there is a question which was not picked here, let it be escalated to that forum. Because I don't think this forum can sufficiently address all the matters. We know there are many matters, even some questions were not answered. So if you have a contribution, ukifika kwa vijana, iweke hapo ndani. I think there will be also some focus group discussion where certain resolutions need to be made. Because in the conference, the first 10 minutes, you will have one woman who will speak and represent the voice of the entire women in water and sanitation in Kenya. Then same for the youth. You will set the stage before we go to the discussions and the high panel level. So where do we get your thoughts here and channel them together and get the resolution that resonate with your thinking? It is from these focused group discussions. So it's very important. We don't want to go and say something that is not in your mind. We want to arrest and find out what is it, what is your thinking, what do you want to see in terms of opportunities and challenges that you want to be addressed. I hope I'm succinctly clear on that. If I'm not, I can repeat, but there's no time. If I'm succinctly clear, as many as of the opinion say aye, as many as of the contrary opinion say nay, the nays have it. Kenyan business. Thank you. That's a joke, you know what I mean. So I think we can break for tea and come back by 12:25. For the online, we are very grateful. Unless we can't give you, we are unable to give you online tea. We have it here, it is lent to us, it's available. I think we'll have the opportunity to meet in the conference. Thank you for your discussion, for your participation. You have really energized us. You turned out in big numbers. We have received your comments and we don't take your contribution for granted. Whatever was not answered, we will escalate it in the group. But for now, we say bye-bye from Naivasha. Thank you. Let us meet you in the main conference. Asante.
Sorry? We can't send
So kuna sound bites.